The clink of a spoon, the espresso machine's Hum Summit Grounds Cafe, scene of the crime, then and now. I'm in the same damn booth. 3 tables over, Kira and Jenna, heads together whispering, conspirators again, exactly as they were 3 months ago, in a life I already lost. This replay, this chance to rise from the ashes of their betrayal, feels like a cruel, mocking stage set for my own personal phoenix ascent. My hearing, sharper this time, a gift from whatever power forced this repeat performance, catches their poison. Sponsorship money? Denali, accident needs to look convincing. They're planning my death again, and I'm the only one who knows the script. My hearing? It's sharper now, a side effect, I guess, of whatever cosmic joke brought me back. I catch snippets, jagged pieces of their poison. Sponsorship money. Clean. And then the kicker. Denali, accident needs to look convincing. My fingers, seemingly of their own accord, trace a faint, almost invisible line across my right palm. It's a scar from the fall that killed me, the fall that will kill me, if I let them. It shouldn't be here, this phantom ache in a body that's whole again, untouched by the jagged rocks and the biting wind. But it is. A physical reminder that this isn't a dream, this is a second chance. Served up with a side of bitter coffee and recycled betrayal. Kira slides an envelope across the table to Jenna. The bribe. For falsifying safety reports. For looking the other way while Kira's ambition carved a shortcut through my life. The image, so vivid, crashes through me. Denali, the summit, cold and magnificent. The world spread out like a rumpled map. Kira, her face contorted with a triumphant malice I'd never seen, never suspected. You always were too trusting, little sister. Her words, a whip crack in the thin air, right before she told me the truth. That she was my half-sister. That our father had a whole other life, a whole other daughter he actually seemed to like. And then, the shove. The world tilting, the sky rushing up to meet me. The crushing, final impact. Her laughter echoing in the silence as I died. My hands are shaking now, rattling the cheap diner mug. I clench them, the phantom scar pulsing. 3 months ago, I was too naive, too wrapped up in the dream of us, the climbing partners, the sisters of the mountain. This time, I know the script. This time, I'm ready. My phone buzzes on the table. Dad. Hey, sweetie, don't forget family dinner tomorrow night. Kira's coming. Excited for you two to finally meet. Excited? Right, the same dinner, the same charade where he'll pretend this ambitious, ruthless woman is a stranger, a talented climber he's just heard about. He'll feign surprise at her skills, offer his support, all while knowing he's funded her entire ascent, her entire life in secret, for years. All those business trips when I had a competition. All those missed birthdays because he was too busy. It clicks into place now, the jagged pieces of a puzzle I never knew I was solving. He had time for Kira, he had money for Kira. While I got pats on the head and lukewarm encouragement, Kira got his attention, his resources, his love. The thought cuts, a fresh, deep wound that has nothing to do with phantom scars. My own father, living a double life, and I was the oblivious collateral damage. Later, I'm in my childhood bedroom. It feels smaller somehow. Or maybe I'm just too big for it now, filled with memories and a rage that's too vast for these 4 walls. I know where to look this time. Under the loose floorboard beneath a pile of old climbing magazines I never quite managed to throw away. The document. Grandfather's amended will. My death, my first death, prevented me from finding this. He left me everything. The family's outdoor gear empire, a legacy built on the same love of the mountains he'd passed down to me. Contingent on 2 things, surviving to age 18 and completing a major climbing achievement. Denali was supposed to be that achievement. Kira didn't just want the sponsorship money. She didn't just want me out of the way on the climb. She wanted it all. My inheritance, my future, my life's work, handed to her on a silver platter of my own father's making. The irony is a bitter pill. The thing I loved most, climbing, The thing that connected me to my grandfather was meant to secure my future, not end it. I stand before the mirror, my reflection stares back, a stranger in a familiar face. The eyes are harder, colder. There's no trace of the naive 17-year-old who walked into that cafe 3 months ago, so eager to please, so desperate for her father's approval, so blind to her sister's treachery. That girl is gone, shattered on the unforgiving slopes of Denali. My smile, when I manage one, doesn't reach my eyes. It holds secrets now. It holds a plan. I open my laptop. The internet hums, a gateway to information I couldn't have before. Kira's mounting debts. She's not as successful as she pretends. Dad's web of shell companies designed to funnel assets away from the main business, away from me. Jenna's failing gear shop, the desperation that would make her sell her soul and my life for a handful of cash. They all thought I was weak, easy to manipulate, the sweet, slightly less talented younger sister. They were wrong. This time, Maya's name won't be a footnote in Kira's story. This time, my name will be etched onto that mountain. The mountain that was supposed to be my grave will be the monument to my rebirth. And their downfall, the dinner, is a masterclass in deception. I sit at the polished mahogany table, a ghost at my own feast of lies. Dad, beaming with false paternal pride, introduces Kira. Maya, darling, this is Kira Nilsson, an incredibly gifted climber I've been hearing so much about. His voice, smooth and practiced, doesn't betray a hint of the years of secret meetings, the clandestine funding. My stepmother, Amelia, plays her part with chilling perfection. Her smile is a carefully constructed mask of warmth as she gushes, "Oh, how wonderful. Maya, you two must have so much in common. Perhaps you can give her some pointers, dear." The condescension, subtle but sharp, still stings, even though I expect it. In their eyes, I'm still the afterthought. Kira. She's perfected the role of the shy, struggling ingenue. Her eyes are wide, her voice soft as she talks about her passion for the mountains, her dream of tackling a major peak like Denali. "I'm just so grateful for any opportunity," she murmurs, casting a hopeful glance at Dad. "It's so hard to find sponsorship, to get the support you need." I almost choke on my water, the audacity. I play my part, the dutiful, slightly odd daughter. "Wow, Kira, that's amazing. Dad, Amelia, we should help her. She sounds incredible." I see the flicker of satisfaction in their eyes. Their plan is working. Maya is buying it. Good little Maya, always so eager to please. It makes them confident. It makes them careless. The next morning, Dad goes for his run. 7 a.m., like clockwork, a routine I now know intimately. His home office, usually a fortress, is momentarily unguarded. I slip inside, the scent of old paper and his expensive cologne filling my nostrils. My phone camera is my weapon now. Contracts detailing years of payments to KN Enterprises. Financial statements showing systematic transfers to offshore accounts. Shell companies with Kira listed as the sole director. Correspondence discussing the Denali project and contingency plans. He wasn't just supporting her. He was actively diverting the family fortune, preparing for the day my accidental death would make Kira the undisputed heir. The evidence is damning, a cold knot of fury tightening in my chest. But it's not enough. I need leverage they can't explain away. The climbing gym is Kira's stage. She preens under the admiring gazes of the other climbers, her movements fluid, almost theatrical. I watch from a shadowy corner, noting the slight hesitation in her reach, the almost imperceptible tremor in her left leg when she puts too much weight on it. She's good, yes, but not as good as she thinks she is. Years of bought success, of smoothed paths and padded resumes, have made her soft, overconfident. I take to the wall deliberately clumsy. My hand slips on an easy hold. I struggle with a route I could scale in my sleep. Whispers follow me. That's Maya Anderson, Richard Anderson's daughter. And then, inevitably, not as strong as her sister, is she? Let them think it. Let her think it. Later, I accidentally leave my phone recording on a bench near where Kira is holding court. Her voice, amplified by the gym's acoustics, brags about the upcoming Denali expedition. "It's my big break. Once this is done, I'll be set for life." Her laughter, a chilling echo of the sound that haunted my final moments. Her arrogance is a gaping vulnerability. She still sees me as the weak, adoring little sister, too blinded by family loyalty to ever suspect a thing. Jenna's shop, Peak Performance Gear, is a mausoleum of broken dreams. Dust motes dance in the slivers of sunlight cutting through the grimy windows. Shelves are sparsely populated, sale signs yellowed and curling at the edges. A stack of unopened bills sits accusingly on the counter. I browse, feigning interest in a carabiner that's probably been there since the shop opened. Jenna emerges from the back room, her eyes shadowed, her smile strained. "Maya, hey, what brings you here?" "Just looking around," I say, keeping my voice light. "Thinking about some new gear for Denali." Her face falls just for a second, before the mask slips back into place. "Oh, right, Denali. That's ambitious." We talk. I let her steer the conversation. It doesn't take long. The carefully constructed dam of her composure cracks, then breaks. Tears stream down her face as she confesses everything: the mounting debts, the threatening letters from suppliers, her mother's medical bills. "I don't know what to do, Maya," she sobs, clutching a faded photograph of her mother. "I'm going to lose everything." I offer a tissue, a sympathetic murmur. Inside, I'm a cold, calculating machine, cataloging every detail, the exact amount she needs to save the shop, the depth of her desperation. She thinks I'm her friend, a shoulder to cry on. She has no idea I'm the architect of her coming ruin, or, perhaps, her salvation, depending on the choices she makes from here. Desperation makes people predictable. It also makes them pliable. Back home, I begin to weave my web. A casual mention to Dad during dinner. "I was thinking about our family history for a school project, Dad. Grandfather's will is so interesting, isn't it? All those clauses about the business." His fork clatters against his plate. Just for a moment, his composure slips. Nervousness flickers in his eyes before he smooths it over with a dismissive laugh. "Oh, that old thing. Don't worry your pretty little head about it, sweetie. Dry as dust." But the seed is planted. Paranoia is a fertile ground. My apparent ignorance, my childlike curiosity, is now their biggest reassurance. I book a private session with Marco, a renowned climbing instructor, a legend in the community. "Just want to brush up on my skills for Denali," I tell my parents. "Make sure I can keep up with Kira." They exchange a knowing glance. Good, let them underestimate me. Marco's gym is miles away from the one Kira frequents. Here, in anonymity, the real training begins. Techniques my past life revealed as crucial. Ways to read the ice, the snow, the subtle shifts in weather. Ways to survive when everything and everyone is trying to kill you. This time, I won't just keep up. I'll set the pace. The practice climb at Eagle's Crag. It's a familiar stage for a familiar betrayal. The sun beats down, warming the granite face. Kira is all smiles and sisterly concern. "You ready for this, Maya? Just a little warm-up for the big leagues." I watch her, not directly, but from the corner of my eye, a peripheral awareness honed by my second chance. As I'm supposedly distracted, checking my water bottle, I see it. The quick, furtive movement. Her fingers, deft and practiced, tampering with my harness, loosening the belay device. Just a fraction. Enough to send me into a jarring, uncontrolled fall if I'm not expecting it. Enough to break a leg, an arm. Enough to make Denali an impossibility. It's a smaller scale than her ultimate plan, but the intent is the same. Eliminate the competition. A chill, colder than any mountain wind, snakes down my spine. It's the same chill I felt on Denali just before. She finishes, then pulls me into a hug, her voice a honeyed whisper against my ear. "We're going to crush it, sis. You and me, sisters on the summit." The hypocrisy is a physical weight. She's just set me up for a potentially serious injury, and she's talking about sisterly bonds. The rage is a living thing inside me, but I force it down, letting only a flicker of gratitude show in my eyes. The training session. I arrive at the prearranged spot, feigning an almost giddy excitement. "Thanks so much for doing this, Kira. I really appreciate you taking the time to help me." My voice is pitched just right, a little breathless, a little naive. I make a show of checking my gear, but carelessly, letting my attention wander. I want her to see it. I want her to be confident. I want her to believe her little act of sabotage went completely unnoticed. All set, I chirp, giving her a thumbs up. She smiles, a tight, predatory curve of her lips that she probably thinks looks reassuring. Great, let's do this. The dramatic irony is so thick I could cut it with a climbing axe. I'm playing the trusting victim, the lamb to the slaughter, while every nerve ending in my body is screaming, alive with the knowledge of what she's done, what she will do. Internally, I'm counting down, not to my fall, but to hers. The night before, armed with the intimate knowledge of Kira's equipment, her preferred brands, the way she organizes her pack, even the specific chalk bag she uses. I executed the switch. It was surprisingly easy. Her apartment, a monument to her inflated ego and her father's money, was simple to access. A little social engineering with the doorman, a story about dropping off a surprise gift. People are so trusting. Her pristine, top-of-the-line harness, her meticulously maintained belay device swapped, replaced with identical-looking equipment. Equipment I'd subtly, expertly compromised, the same way she'd compromised mine. Not enough to cause a fatal fall. I'm not a murderer, despite what she tried to make of me. But enough. Enough for a public, humiliating, and very painful demonstration of equipment failure. Enough to make her question her own competence, her own luck, and the camera. A tiny, almost invisible lens, cleverly concealed in a water bottle I forgot near the base of the climb. Positioned for a perfect view, we begin the ascent. Kira takes the lead, showing off, her movements a little too flashy, a little too confident. I follow, maintaining my act of the struggling novice, making sure to stay just far enough behind. She reaches the crux of the route, a tricky overhang. She pauses, chalks her hands, then launches herself upward. And then, it happens. A small, sharp crack. Not loud, but decisive. Her body jerks. A startled cry rips from her throat. The rope goes taut, then slips, just a little, through the compromised belay device attached to her harness. She doesn't plummet, but she drops. A good 10 feet. A jarring, uncontrolled swing that leaves her dangling upside down, her expensive climbing pants snagged, her face contorted in a mask of shock and terror. The harness, my carefully altered harness, twists, digging into her. It's not dangerous, not life-threatening, but it's undignified. It's embarrassing, and it's very, very public. Kira, are you okay? My voice is a perfect blend of panic and concern. I scramble towards her, already fumbling with my own ropes. Other climbers at the crag have noticed. Heads turn, phones come out. The murmur of voices, concerned, curious, judgmental. Gym staff rush over. This is exactly what I wanted, an audience. Kira is babbling, her voice high-pitched. My gear, it failed. The harness, it just gave way. She sounds hysterical, unprofessional. I play the concerned sister to perfection. Hold on, Kira, I'm coming. Don't move. I make a show of expertly securing her, helping her back to solid ground, all while my hidden camera captures every mortifying second. Her flailing, her panicked excuses, the twisted gear. Later, the footage, edited just so, mysteriously appears on ClimbNet, the biggest online forum for the climbing community. Uploaded from an anonymous, untraceable account I'd set up weeks ago. The title, Kira Nilsson, Gear Failure or Incompetence at Eagles Crag. The comments section explodes. Wow, looks like she doesn't even check her own harness. Heard she was all hype. Guess it's true. That's basic safety, Nilsson. What were you thinking? Her phone starts ringing. Sponsors, potential expedition leaders, her father. I watch from the shadows of my room as her carefully constructed image begins to crumble. She's frantic, pacing, her voice a torrent of desperate explanations. I lean back, a small, cold smile playing on my lips. The first crack. The first taste of fear. The same fear she made me live with, die with, poetic justice. And it's only the beginning. The Eagles Crag incident sends ripples of unease through Kira's camp, which is to say, through my father. His carefully laid plans are starting to fray at the edges. Kira's reputation, once polished to a high shine by his money and influence, is now tarnished. Sponsors are getting skittish. Questions are being asked. They need to accelerate their timeline. They need to discredit me, and fast, before I somehow become a liability instead of a stepping stone. Their chosen method is crude, predictable, ripped straight from the dog-eared pages of my past life script. Frame me for theft, stealing expedition funds. It's almost laughably cliché, but then, they've always underestimated my intelligence, my resourcefulness. I know it's coming. I can feel the shift in the atmosphere at home. The hushed phone calls Dad takes in his study. Kira's increased visits. Her eyes narrowed with a new, sharper animosity when she looks at me. They're plotting. They think they're being subtle. They plant the evidence in my room. Packets of cash, supposedly siphoned from the Denali Fund, tucked into my climbing boot. Forged bank transfer slips hidden beneath my mattress. It's almost touching, their faith in my continued naivete. But this house is my stage now, and I've rewritten the play. Hidden cameras, tiny, unobtrusive eyes are scattered throughout. In my room, in the hallway, in Dad's study. And while they were congratulating themselves on their cunning, I was busy. The evidence they planted in my room? It's been relocated. To Kira's designer handbag, the one she never goes anywhere without. In its place, in my room, decoy evidence, documents, financial statements, detailing Kira's embezzlement. Small sums at first, then larger. A pattern of skimming from sponsorship deals, of diverting funds meant for team expenses. Things I found during my research into grandfather's will, the family dinner. It's a replay, almost word for word, of that awful night in my previous life. Dad's grave pronouncements about a serious matter. Amelia's theatrical distress. The invited guests, potential sponsors, influential figures in the climbing world, looking on with a mixture of shock and prurient interest. Dad clears his throat, his voice heavy with false sorrow. It has come to my attention that there has been a serious breach of trust. Funds for the Denali expedition appear to be missing. He pauses, letting the implication hang in the air. Then, with a sigh that could win him an Oscar, Maya, darling, I found these in your room. He produces the decoy evidence, my carefully curated collection of Kira's financial misdeeds. I play my part, confusion, hurt. Dad, what is this? I don't understand. Kira steps forward, her face a mask of reluctant sorrow. Maya, I saw you with the expedition money. I didn't want to believe it. This is it, her moment of supposed triumph, of sealing my fate. She reaches into her handbag, the one I know contains the evidence against me, the cash, the forged slips. She pulls out a sheaf of papers, but her face, it's frozen. Her eyes widen in disbelief, then horror. She's not holding proof of my guilt. She's holding proof of her own, the neatly itemized list of her unauthorized withdrawals, the damning bank statements. What is this? She stammers, her voice barely a whisper. I allow myself a small, sad smile. I think, Kira, I say, my voice clear and steady, those are your financial records. And then, my first surprise, the large television screen in the dining room, usually displaying scenic mountain landscapes, flickers to life. It's a live stream, entitled Anderson Family Dinner Behind the Scenes, an account Dad unknowingly authorized when he set up the family sharing for his photo albums. The entire climbing community, everyone who matters, is watching as Kira's accusation implodes, watching as she's exposed not as a whistleblower but as a thief. Dad's face is a mottled purple. Amelia looks like she's about to faint. Kira, cornered, humiliated, reverts to her baser instincts. The mask of sophistication shatters. She lunges at me, her face contorted with rage. You little bitch! You set me up! Her hand clamps onto my arm, fingers digging in like talons. It's the same raw, uncontrolled violence I remember from the summit, the hissing threats almost identical. I'll kill you! You'll wish you'd never been born. But I'm not the same girl. My secret training with Marco wasn't just about climbing. It was about self-defense, about survival. I move, a quick, precise twist breaking her grip. A defensive maneuver that uses her own momentum against her. She stumbles back off balance, her eyes wide with surprise. And, as she does, my hand brushes the small, almost invisible recording device clipped to my belt. Activated. Every word of her threat, every nuance of her murderous rage captured. The guests are aghast. The live stream is capturing it all, the physical assault, the verbal threats. The community's reaction is instantaneous, a digital firestorm. Did you see that? Kira Anderson just attacked her sister. And threatening to kill her? On a live stream? Sponsors, are you watching this? This is who you're backing. Kira's sponsors don't just drop her. They issue public statements condemning her actions, distancing themselves as quickly as possible. Expedition leaders, the ones who hadn't already been scared off by the Eagles Crag incident, now refuse to even be in the same room as her. Her reputation isn't just destroyed, it's annihilated. She's screaming now, a wild, cornered animal. Dad is trying to placate the guests, his face a mask of forced calm that's cracking at the seams. Amelia is weeping hysterically into a linen napkin. I watch them, a strange detachment settling over me. Their world is unraveling, thread by painstaking thread. And I'm the one holding the shears. But Dad, ever the strategist, ever the manipulator, has one last card to play. His most desperate gambit, his cruelest weapon. He steps forward, his voice cutting through Kira's tirade, through Amelia's sobs. "There's something you all need to know," he announces, his eyes cold and hard, fixed on me. "About Maya, about her legitimacy. Maya isn't actually my biological daughter." The room falls silent. The live stream viewers are no doubt leaning closer to their screens. He's going for the kill, invalidate my inheritance, destroy me psychologically. Just like he tried to do last time, he smiles, a thin, cruel slash in his face. She has no claim to the Anderson name, or the Anderson legacy. The silence in the dining room is absolute, a crushing weight. Dad's words hang in the air, a poisonous cloud. Maya isn't actually my biological daughter. His voice, laced with a vindictive triumph, echoes the pronouncement from my past life. The shock on the guests' faces, the sudden pitying glances, it's all a rerun. He expects me to crumble, to shatter under the public humiliation, the sudden stripping away of my identity. He expects tears, denials, a desperate plea for him to retract his cruel statement. Last time I did. Last time, his words were a mortal blow, severing the last fragile thread of my belonging. This time I smile. It's not a triumphant smile, not yet. It's small, knowing. I've been waiting for this. This is the moment he believes he's won, the moment he thinks he's finally crushed me. He has no idea this is the moment I've orchestrated. "Actually, Dad," I say, my voice calm, carrying easily in the stunned silence, "you're only half right." I reach into the portfolio I'd placed beside my chair, a portfolio everyone assumed contained school notes or climbing journals. I withdraw a set of documents, neatly bound. Legal documents. "It's true," I continue, my gaze sweeping across the room, meeting the eyes of the sponsors, the community leaders, my so-called family. "Richard Anderson is not my biological father." A gasp from Amelia, a flicker of something unreadable confusion in Kira's eyes. Dad nods, a self-satisfied smirk playing on his lips. "I told you so." "But then," I say, pausing for effect, letting the tension build, "neither is he Kira's." The smirk vanishes from Dad's face. His jaw drops. Kira stares at me, her mouth agape. Amelia lets out a small, choked sob. I lay the DNA test results on the table, the crisp paper a stark contrast to the rich mahogany. Through some rather extensive research into our family's medical history, a nod to my past life knowledge and my new, relentless investigation skills, I discovered something rather interesting. Richard Anderson is sterile. He has been for decades. A fact he's gone to rather extraordinary lengths to conceal. The room erupts in murmurs. Dad is white as a sheet. He looks like he's been punched in the gut. "So yes," I say, my voice cool and precise. "Both Kira and I are the products of our mother's choices. Their affairs. But here's the funny thing, Dad. Only one of us bothered to uncover the whole truth. The man who built his entire identity around continuing the precious Anderson bloodline has no biological children at all." his carefully constructed world, his legacy, his lie all crumbling around him. But I'm not finished. This isn't just about paternity. It's about the legacy he tried to steal, the one Kira was willing to kill for. And that brings us, I say, pulling another document from my portfolio, to grandfather's will, the real will. I hold up a copy of the secret codicil. My grandfather was a wise man. He wasn't blind to his son's failings, his moral shortcomings, his potential infertility, it seems. My eyes meet Dad's, and I see a flicker of genuine fear there now. He created a backup plan, a contingency. I read from the codicil, my voice ringing with a clarity that belies the tremor in my hands. Should my son, Richard Anderson, prove himself unworthy of the Anderson family legacy, should he engage in acts of fraud, conspiracy, or moral turpitude that bring disgrace upon our name? I pause, letting the words sink in. Then the entirety of the Anderson Outdoor Endeavors fortune, its assets, its holdings, its future, shall pass not by blood, but by merit. To the most worthy young climber who embodies the true spirit of the Anderson family values, courage, integrity, and a passion for the mountains, regardless of blood relation, to be determined by a board of my most trusted advisors upon presentation of irrefutable evidence of said unworthiness. And then the avalanche. One by one, I present my evidence, the meticulously gathered, irrefutably documented proof of their crimes. Financial records, years of systematically siphoning funds from Anderson Outdoor Endeavors into Dad's shell companies, then into Kira's accounts. Fraud, I state calmly. Audio recordings. Dad and Kira plotting, discussing how to manage the Denali accident, discussing how to silence me if I became suspicious. Conspiracy to commit. I let the sentence hang. Video evidence. Kira tampering with my harness at Eagles Crag. The raw, unedited footage. Attempted assault, reckless endangerment. Kira attacking me at the dinner table, her voice thick with murderous intent. Assault, uttering threats. Testimony. Sworn statements from sponsors Kira defrauded. From climbers who witnessed her recklessness, her arrogance. Jenna's confession, detailing her role in the conspiracy, the bribe money, the falsified safety reports. Every lie, every betrayal, every crime laid bare. I'd played the part of the naive victim so well they never saw me coming. Every moment they thought I was weak, I was gathering. Every tear they thought was for my broken heart was for the evidence I was compiling. Every hesitant word, every downcast glance was a calculated move in a game they didn't even know they were playing. The room is a tomb. My family, what's left of it, stares at me. Their faces a mixture of disbelief, horror, and dawning comprehension. The girl they dismissed, the one they tried to erase, hasn't just survived. She's systematically dismantled their entire world. I control the fortune. I have the evidence to send them to prison. I hold their reputations, their futures, in the palm of my hand. The power hasn't just shifted. It's been utterly, irrevocably reversed. And I haven't even raised my voice. The immediate aftermath is a cacophony of desperation. Dad is the first to crack, his carefully constructed facade of paternal authority crumbling into a pathetic plea. Maya, you can't do this. I'm your father. You owe me respect, loyalty. His voice, usually so commanding, is thin, reedy. When that fails, his tone shifts to a wheedling whine. I raised you. I gave you everything. Doesn't that count for something? We can work this out, Maya. Just tell me what you want. Kira, ever the opportunist, tries a different tack. Tears, crocodile tears, stream down her face, ruining her expensive makeup. Maya, please, she sobs, reaching for my hand, which I calmly withdraw. You have to understand. He forced me. Dad, he threatened me. He said if I didn't go along with it, he'd ruin me. I never wanted to hurt you. You're my sister. The word sister drips with a poisonous sweetness that makes my stomach turn. She's still trying to play on a bond she herself severed with a laugh and a shove. Then Jenna arrives, a disheveled, weeping mess at my front door a few days later. The news of the disastrous dinner, the live stream, the impending legal doom of the Andersons has spread like wildfire. She falls to her knees on my doorstep, clutching at the hem of my jeans. Maya, I am so, so sorry. I was desperate. My mom, her medical bills, the shop. I never thought, I'll do anything. I'll testify. I'll give back the money. Please, Maya, you have to forgive me. Show some mercy. Her remorse, at least, feels genuine, a stark contrast to the calculated performances of Dad and Kira. But the image of her, head bent with Kira, their hushed whispers sealing my fate in that cafe, it's seared into my memory. Desperation is an explanation, not an excuse. I arranged to meet them, separately, in neutral territory. A sterile lawyer's office for Dad and Kira. A quiet, anonymous park bench for Jenna. I need them to face not just the consequences, but the truth of what they did, the truth of what they are. With Dad, I am clinical. I lay out the timeline of his deceptions, the years of neglect punctuated by manipulation. Do you remember my 16th birthday, Dad? I ask, my voice devoid of emotion. You promised you'd be at my climbing competition, my first major one. You never showed. You were in Aspen, with Kira, finalizing her sponsorship with Nordic Gear, using Anderson Company funds laundered through one of your shell corporations. He pales, but says nothing. He knows I have the records. You celebrated my death, Dad. In your past life, when you thought Kira had succeeded, you toasted to solving the inheritance problem. You called me a necessary sacrifice for the family's future. Your words, not mine. The memory, sharp and agonizing, feels like a fresh wound, but my voice remains steady. He looks away, unable to meet my eyes. With Kira, it's more visceral. You laughed, Kira, I tell her, my voice low, intense. We're in a small, windowless room, the air thick with her fear and my cold fury. When you pushed me, when I was falling, you were laughing. You told me I was weak, that I never deserved the Anderson name, that you were the true heir. Do you remember that, Kira? Do you remember the sound of my body hitting the rocks? Her bravado is gone. She's trembling, her face ashen. I don't, it wasn't supposed to go this way for you, I correct her. But it was exactly what you planned for me. You wanted me dead, for money, for a name you don't even have a biological right to. I let the words hang there, each one a hammer blow against her shattered ego. She starts to weep, a keening animal sound of pure terror. It brings me no satisfaction, only a weary sense of inevitability. Jenna is perhaps the hardest. Her tears are real, her regret palpable. I know what I did was wrong, Maya, unforgivable, but my mother— Jenna, I say, my voice softer than it was with the others, but no less firm. You helped them plan it. You knew about the equipment sabotage. You took the bribe money knowing it was intended to ensure I didn't come back from Denali. You chose money over my life, over our friendship. I watch her face crumple. You sat in that cafe just a few feet away from me and you plotted my murder. You smiled at me later that day and wished me luck on the expedition. The memory of that smile, that false friendship, is a betrayal almost as deep as Kira's. They all beg forgiveness, mercy, a second chance. The same things I silently screamed for as I fell through that icy air. My refusal is quiet, unshakable. There's no anger in my voice now, no hatred, just a profound, bone-deep certainty. To my father, you made your choice, Dad. Every single day for 17 years, you chose Kira. You chose your secrets. You chose your lies. Your reward is to lose everything you pretended to value and to face the consequences of the man you truly are. There's no deal to be made here. There's only the law. To Kira, you wanted my death to make you rich and famous. You wanted my legacy. Now, your own life, your own freedom is the price of that ambition. You'll be remembered, Kira, but not as a climber. You'll be remembered as a cautionary tale. To Jenna, you sold our friendship, Jenna. You sold my life for the price of your failing business. Now you'll learn what it means to have neither. Your desperation doesn't absolve you of your choices. And then I deliver the final justice. It's not about revenge anymore. Revenge is a fire that consumes everything, even the one who wields it. This is about consequences, precise, fitting, inescapable. For Dad, the full weight of the law, criminal fraud charges, conspiracy. The evidence I've provided to the authorities is overwhelming. His assets are frozen. He'll lose the company, the house, everything. His legal fees alone will bankrupt him. His legacy, the one he was so desperate to control, will be one of shame and public disgrace. For Kira, assault charges, conspiracy to commit grievous bodily harm. With the recordings, the video evidence, her conviction is almost certain. A likely prison sentence, a permanent ban from all professional climbing organizations. Her career is over. Her name, once whispered with admiration, will now be spat out with contempt. She will be forgotten by the world she so desperately wanted to conquer. For Jenna, her participation in the conspiracy, her acceptance of the bribe, will be made public. Her business, already failing, will not survive the scandal. Her reputation in the small, tight-knit outdoor community will be ruined. But I make one anonymous phone call, one untraceable transfer, her mother's outstanding medical bills, paid in full. Justice for me isn't about cruelty. It's about balance. Jenna made a terrible choice, driven by desperation. She will pay for that choice. But her mother, an innocent in all of this, will not suffer further because of it. I walk away from each of them, leaving them to face the wreckage of their lives. There's no triumph in it, no elation. Just a quiet, somber sense of an ending. A necessary ending. The cycle of betrayal is broken. The debt has been paid. 6 months. It feels like a lifetime. I stand at the base of Denali, the colossal mountain gleaming white against a brilliant blue sky. But it's not just Denali anymore. The route I pioneered, the one I summited with a quiet determination that surprised everyone, including myself, now bears a new name. It's officially charted, recognized, Maya's Ascent. The irony isn't lost on me. The mountain that was meant to be my tomb is now my monument, my name carved into the history of this formidable peak, not through martyrdom, but through achievement. Exactly as I'd once whispered to a cold, unhearing mirror, I'm not alone. Around me, a small group of friends, genuine friends. Elena, her weathered face crinkled in a warm smile, claps me on the shoulder. She's an experienced alpinist, a legend in her own right, who saw something in me beyond the Anderson name, beyond the swirling rumors that had initially followed my return to the climbing scene. She became my mentor, my confidant, the supportive, guiding presence I'd never had. There's Liam, a young, fiercely talented photographer who documented my Denali climb, his images capturing not just the struggle, but the quiet joy I found in reclaiming my life on that mountain. And a few others, climbers I'd met at various crags and competitions, people who knew nothing of my family's wealth or their spectacular downfall. They liked me, for my tenacity on the wall, for my quiet humor around the campfire. These bonds, forged in shared hardship and mutual respect, are stronger than any blood tie I ever knew. Anderson Outdoor Endeavors is no more. In its place, the Phoenix Foundation, my grandfather's fortune, now truly mine, is being used to fulfill what I believe was his true legacy. We sponsor young climbers, talented kids from disadvantaged backgrounds, kids who have the passion and the drive but lack the resources. Our first recipient, a fiery teenager named Sophia from a rundown neighborhood in Detroit, reminds me so much of myself at that age, all grit and dreams with a hunger to prove herself. Watching her train, her eyes shining with an almost desperate hope, feels more rewarding than any summit. I'm giving her the support, the belief that I was denied. No sabotage, no betrayal, just a helping hand. Occasionally, news of my former family filters through. Dad, stripped of his wealth and status, works a quiet, anonymous job in a different state. He lives in a small, rented apartment. The arrogance, the manipulative charm, all gone, replaced by the quiet desperation of a man forced to confront his own insignificance. Kira served her 2 years. She emerged from prison a ghost of her former self, the fire in her eyes extinguished. The climbing world has long since moved on, her name a forgotten footnote. Jenna, I hear, eventually found work in a different industry, far from the mountains and the gear shops. She's rebuilding slowly, quietly. I feel nothing when I hear these things. No satisfaction, no pity, just a profound indifference. Their stories are no longer intertwined with mine. They are simply other people, living other lives. My apartment overlooks the range, the distant peaks often wreathed in mist. This is where my new life truly began, not in a courtroom, not in a lawyer's office, but here with the mountains as my silent witnesses. I touch the faint scar on my palm. It's barely visible now, a whisper of a memory. The scared, desperate girl who died on that summit, the one consumed by betrayal and a desperate need for approval, she's gone. In her place stands a woman, confident, sure of her own worth. A woman who climbs not for validation, not for legacy, but for the pure, untamed joy of it. The sun is rising, painting the snow-capped peaks in hues of rose and gold. I turn from the window, my climbing gear is already packed. A new expedition awaits, a new mountain. This time, it's just for me.